Hi, welcome back to the Blissful Heart channel. My name is Desiree Lee, and I am here to give you your weekly Bliss Fix. We're looking at the first week of November with daylight savings time. Welcome back to my channel, to all of my subscribers, and for anybody that's new, I channel divine guidance for the collective. I am a twin flame in full union, a vinyasa and kundalini yoga teacher, and a Reiki master. And it is my life's mission to be of service in helping people find their divine soul path and divine union with their most perfect partner. If you wanted to book a reading with me, I am currently open. You can go to YourBlissFix.com and order your reading from there. I have many options, different price points. If you are a fan of my channel and you have not subscribed for some reason, please click that subscribe button right now. And if you feel inspired to donate to me, I also have donation links in the description box below. If you want to receive more specific twin flame guidance, I offer a twin flame reading on my Patreon once a month. It's $1 a month and you get a video for that price. So you can check the description box below for my Patreon link and follow me there. Every Friday on Instagram, I do live channeled guidance. Go to Instagram and follow me at Blissful Heart, same as my YouTube channel. And if you want to support my twin flames and mine's blooming business, we are selling crystals with Blissful Crystals, which explains why I was not here last week. We had our very first market here in Boise, Idaho, and it was so exciting, so fun, so time consuming, and so energy consuming. And I just was not prepared for how much time and energy it was going to take from me. So I do apologize for missing you last week. I did miss you and I'm here for this week's monthly weekly guidance. So if you didn't know, I am currently doing my longer channeled guidance reading, which is what you're watching right now. And then I am also creating a 10 to 15 minute abbreviated highlights reading, which I release on Wednesdays. So it's just a shorter version of this longer reading for those of you that don't have the time to invest in a longer reading. It kind of just gets some of the key points out, but it definitely doesn't have the channeled guidance that happens in this full-length movie, the full-length reading. Now you may be like, daylight savings, why does that have to do with energy? And you know, it absolutely does. There is a huge shift in our experience of life, right? And so it can actually create a sense of stress, like you're behind, or you know that you're lagging somehow, even though none of that is going on, right? And it just kind of plays with our melatonin, like our sleep schedule. So it does affect us energetically, right? And so I just wanted to kind of mention it to, don't forget to roll your clocks back. In the fall, we fall back. Roll your clocks back an hour this Sunday, but also, you know, recognize that it is going to create like this sense of stress or like maybe a little anxiety or like you're lagging or falling behind, and just know that it is to do with daylight savings and that you're doing just fine. And there's a few things you can do to help yourself with that. I recommend, you know, taking a nice walk with the sunrise if you can. If it's too cold where you're at, then do some sun salutations in your room, in your home. Know that this time change increases our masculine energy, our need for production and drive. So do things that can kind of help culture and nurture, cultivate and nurture feminine energy, like baking or meditating or crafting somehow, right? Just think of doing things that are taking like a nice bath with lavender, right? Just think of doing things that generate more of a calm, cooling energy. Yin yoga is another one too. All right, so with all that being said, let's see what is in store for us this week. You know, November 11th isn't in this week's reading, but I feel like because it's such a potent, powerful portal that we're going to have it in the conversation today. All right, starting with the astrology oracle, we're going to take a look at the overall energy for the week for the collective spirit. What is the overall energy for the week? Thank you. Ooh, the second house, your assets, finances, and the things you value. Interesting. And what else? Mercury. How you think, communicate, write, talk, and travel. Interesting. So for this week, we are looking at a lot of foundational things that are pentacles based or earth element based. So we're looking at money, we're looking at the things that, we own, and it can also be like your home or where you live, but we're looking at like very foundational elements. And we're also looking at how we think and communicate, write, talk, and travel. So that's more swords or air element energy. I feel that there's definitely this idea of us being very logical, a very matter of fact. And yeah, I believe Mercury is not in retrograde currently, so that's a good thing. But I definitely feel like there's this conversation of like legal documents, things being signed or contracts. It definitely feels like it could use some feminine energy. These are both incredibly masculine traits, in fact. So I'm going to pull the cards for the beginning, the middle, and the end of the week, and I'm going to probably edit this for you so you don't have to watch me shuffle a bunch, and then we'll talk about it. I know I say this probably every week, but the clarity and the synchronicities of the cards and how they've been coming out for the last several months, I mean, maybe even this whole year, I just feel like it just is increasing, and it's it just feels so divinely blessed, and I just feel so honored to be of service in this way. And I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my spirit guides and the collective's guides for coming through with such strength and clarity. And just acknowledging that I am a channel for this energy, and I just am humbled by this gift all the time. So we're looking at the early part of the week, November 1st, 2nd, Monday, Tuesday, and it says, set aside your concerns for now. You can make a decision later. Solutions that come from meditation, the need for more sleep, or a vacation. Four of Winter, which is the Four of Swords. So, and then we have Hearth with it, card 19, which is a 10. May your warmth take in the gazing flame. Upon the shivers, they melt away. First, I just want to acknowledge the beauty in those two cards coming together, where we see this fairy slumbering in a little tree notch with ice and snow everywhere. And then we have this, hearth on the other side, like sitting in front of a fire in your home and gazing into the flame and, relaxing, right? They're both saying relax, and that is exactly what I was getting in the conversation about, the daylight savings and how it creates this sense of urgency. And while the time changes on the 7th, we're seeing this need to kind of relax. And I'm hearing that, for a lot of people, a lot of us, this sense of urgency is not only about the time change and, but it's about the fact that it's nearing the end of the year, right? Once we hit October, it's like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, boom, And so, they're just saying like, take a break, a much deserved break, and allow yourself to just, and this, when I was looking at the card with set aside your concerns, I very much was getting that Mercury energy that we pulled for the overall energy, where it's overthinking, overanalyzing, really like not using any intuition or emotion at all, but just like in this heavy mind space of like trying to create like maps and charts and being very analytical, And so that's also like another message here, is just to like get out of your head, meditate, right? They're saying the solution can come from meditation or more sleep or a vacation. So if you don't meditate, I highly encourage you to make it part of your daily practice. And the app that I always recommend to everybody is called Insight Timer. It's a fantastic app. You can get a ton of stuff for free. And then they also have like a premium version, which I don't have, but I might get it. Anyway, you can look for guided meditations, music meditations, and you can filter it by time. So you can say, I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So you can, make time based on your availability. But I cannot tell you how much of godsend meditation can be, especially if you suffer with anxiety, if you are an overthinker, and just wanted to mention as well, if you didn't know, I teach meditation, right? But a lot of people think that meditating is just like being Buddha and just like alming with your eyes closed and there's silence and it's beautiful and peaceful. And if you're lucky, that happens, right? But most of the time we are there in a state of observance where we kind of can see our thoughts and we practice detachment or non-attachment to our thoughts, right? Where we can recognize that we are not our body, we are not our mind, we are something divine. We are the observer that observes, right? Our mind is, not, for lack of a better term, mechanical, right? It does what it does. It thinks the things it thinks. It's neurological, right? The synapses are firing, memories are going, things, to-do lists are going. Like that is how our brain works, okay? But we are a soul, and we have the option to kind of expand outside of that and be the observer of ourselves and practice non-judgment, right? Practice self-love. And in that space, we also can see what needs to be healed or who needs to be forgiven, right? So you just got to keep doing it. And eventually it'll become like breathing, where it's just you can relax into it. But for everyone that is just like, I literally can't sit still, Desiree, then I say, do yoga. Yoga is a moving meditation, and it actually does train and condition you to be able to do the seated meditation. In fact, when yoga was invented, it was invented for young boys around 14 years old that were starting to be kind of trained to meditate as young adult men, and they had so much energy that they designed the physical practice of yoga to help expend the energy, and then it also is training the brain to focus. And so you want to, do yoga. I'm certain that that's why I'm able to meditate. So yoga, meditation, or just try to relax, try to get a little bit more extra sleep, and this hearth energy, may your warmth take in the gazing flame upon the shivers that melt away, as this idea of coming home, right? And my guys are just saying, like, coming home to yourself. I know some of you are overgivers. You would just give all the time. And, it's almost like a compulsion where you feel like you have to always be giving, but you got to give to yourself too, right? And you're not slacking by taking a day of rest. You're not failing by just stopping and enjoying the flowers, enjoying the changing of the leaves, please give yourself a much deserved and needed break. And then we move to the middle of the week, and we have 6, the lovers. True love that is long lasting, choices made from the heart, a return to good health. And ornaments, card 25, which is a 7. So we have 6, 7. So it is, a remembrance of what once was, and with what will be. A fragile beauty beaming upon thy. I'm feeling inclined to talk about the ornaments card first, because this card is talking about the idea of when we decorate a tree, how we place our ornaments and how they each have their perfect place. And we don't want anything to be too crowded, and there's like a balance, right? And sometimes when you're decorating your tree, you're like, that ornament doesn't fit this year, right? And so the ornaments card is really talking about like finding that harmonic balance in your life and seeing what ornaments, i.e., people, don't fit in your life anymore. Now, the fact that this is connected to the Lovers card says a couple things to me. One is that you might possibly be in a relationship that no longer serves you. And this could be a romantic relationship, or it could also be like a friendship or a business partnership, okay? This relationship is like robbing you of your joy and is depleting you. And so the ornaments is coming in and saying like, it's time to, take that ornament off your tree. It's time to, really make self-care a priority and acknowledge the fact that while this person may have redeeming qualities or be amazing, like it's just not right for the both of you. And this is advice that I give frequently, I would say, but sometimes we feel like, oh, if I leave that person, I'm just going to devastate them or break their heart. And while that may be true, isn't it like worse to stay in a relationship where you don't truly love that person, like not to the level of love that you're capable of? And by separating, you are freeing them to find their true love, somebody that will like connect with them on that level, and yourself, right? So it's just so important to really look at your excuses as to why you're not ending something and write it out. Talk to somebody that you trust. And when you hear what you're saying, you'll be like, yeah, that actually makes no sense at all. So that is the first conversation that I'm getting from these two cards. And then the second conversation I'm getting is that union is here, right? And this again has been a repeating message. I really feel that there's a huge like stream of unions that come through starting on August 8th and moving all the way to the early part of January. I feel like the 8-8 and the 9-9 portal isn't like as big, but and the 10-10 portal isn't as big either, but then the 11-11 portal and the 12-12 portal are very big, and then January 1st, 1-1 is also huge. And I haven't done the math on 2022, but that's the number 5. So 2022 is probably going to be a year of really big change. So I do feel that this is saying like, in regards to the ornaments and your true love, they're looking at, we have a certain capacity of love, right? To give and to receive. And we can increase that capacity as we get older and as we go through experiences, and we really learn how to, use our time in a valuable way, and use our energy in a valuable way, right? But if you are occupying your heart space with somebody that, and again, it doesn't have to be intimate, but, make sure that your heart is open and that you're available for love, because that love is definitely trying to come in. And I feel like for some of you, this means you're going to meet your twin flame for the first time, or you're going to meet your destined partner for the first time, or you're going to have a reunion with this person. It feels very magical. Like I'm definitely getting the feeling of like a fairy tale experience. And you know, when you do connect with your twin flame or your destined partner, there is this sense of time being suspended. Everything starts to feel very surreal, and like it slows down and speeds up at the same time, you know, like it feels like it lasts forever, but then when you reflect on it, you're like, that was too fast, you know. So there's just something incredibly like magical and blissful coming through. So I'm incredibly excited about that, and I just want to make sure that you keep your heart open to receive that, right? So in terms of the ornaments and this particular secondary message that I'm offering is still the same, like remove the things that don't serve you, make room in your heart. And that could be fear, you know, of getting your heart broken, fear of loss, you know, it could be resentment towards somebody that hurt you. It could be anger at feeling betrayed, feeling like the universe has fooled you or tricked you, right? And I definitely, you know, have been through that emotion myself, where we just kind of feel betrayed by the divine. and I just want to give you permission to express how you feel. If you feel like sharing it with someone, awesome. I feel like with things like that, it's very personal, and it's not necessary to talk to somebody, but definitely talk to yourself out loud, right? And write it down, like express yourself, because love is here and is ready for you. And so yes, the third message that I'm going to mention very briefly is that you are your true love, right? We all are. But if you haven't taken the journey into self-love yet, then this is your sign, right? Because there's no way that you can be in union with someone that is your destined partner, your soulmate, without having at least ventured into exploring your own self and, you know, your own traumas and your own uniqueness, the things that make you you, and really appreciating yourself as well, right? So all of the things that you do when you love somebody else, you want to do for yourself. Yeah. Okay, so then we look at the end of the week. So now we're looking at the weekend, and this is when daylight savings is going to happen, right? But again, I really feel like the energy is like we're already ready, you know, like the sun is already coming up later and setting earlier. So the end of the week, we have the 7 of spring. Be assertive. Don't back down from what you believe. Courageously stand up for yourself. And ringing the bells, card 30. Ring thy bell to cast them out. Ring thy bell and dance about. Swirl the sounds amidst the winds, nowhere to hide, for all will ring. I mean, I love this. Ringing the bells is so much about like clearing negative energy. If you didn't know, you can actually clean your crystals and clean a space energetically with ringing bells. Yeah, so you can do like Tibetan bowls, you can do little chimes, or like a little bell that you can ring. You know, anything in that frequency, it helps clear negative energy. And so this is definitely like saying, this is the year of you. This is time for you to celebrate. So be assertive. Don't back down from what you believe. Courageously stand up for yourself. So that 7 of springs is a repeating 7, because the ornaments card was also a 7. And it's saying like all of the things that you've ever wanted are yours to have. And all you have to do is just like be bold and courageous and come out and say what you want. Yeah, I love that this message is coming through for you. You want to bring passion and enthusiasm to everything that you want, right? So, really connect with that energy of like, yes, you know, I can do it. You want to bring that excitement into what you want and just say, yes, I am open and ready for love. Yes, I am open and ready for a new level of success in my career, in my business, in my life. Yes, I am excited to grow, and I know that there will be change, and some of it can be difficult, but I'm ready. I'm ready, universe, you know? And so, and then it's like, they're saying that too is like the ringing of the bell, right? And your passion, your excitement, your energy is like ringing a bell out into the universe and letting your guides, letting the universe know that you are ready and that you're not afraid, right? That there's nothing that could scare you at this point, you know, that you feel prepared. And also acknowledging, my guys are like, okay, you know, maybe there are things that we should always be wary of, like goes without saying, okay? I'm not saying to be completely careless here, but, you know, be confident and be brave. Being brave, like, says, okay, I know that it's a scary situation. I know that I could get hurt, but I'm ready because I know that I can fend for myself, and I know that if there are red flags, that I will pay attention to them. You know, I'm never going to let myself get hurt the way I got hurt before. I'm never going to let, you know, if it's like a business transaction that went south, it's like I'm never going to sign a contract without thoroughly thinking it through, right? Like these kinds of things, you have to give yourself credit and recognize that you are smarter and wiser. And if there are mistakes that you've made in relationships or otherwise, like you won't make that mistake again, right? Because you learned your lesson. So tell yourself that you can trust yourself. And then, you know, be enthusiastic about the future and bring it into the now, bring it into the present. Okay, so I'm feeling inspired to do like a little kind of summary section here. We're going to do a summary of the current situation, the best action, and the outcome. Yeah? Sounds good to me. So as a summary, Spirit is saying that the overall situation is this caring, emotional, sensitive Cancer energy with the Page of Cups, which is also like childlike innocence, vulnerability. It's very sweet. So I do feel that applies to this idea of us taking a rest, of being kind and gentle on ourselves, and being open to love, or open to new beginnings, and allowing ourselves to kind of step into a more childlike wonder and innocence about life. And I just want to mention that this could also represent a Cancer energy person coming into your life. So your divine person may be Cancer. Then for the action, we have this dutiful, diligent Virgo energy that is, again, like echoing the message of Mercury that we got, and the channeling that I was talking about for the beginning part of the week with the Four of Winter, just being over analytical, overthinking, this need to meditate, right? So, and the Anant, I got the guidebook out for Anant. Anant, yes, I was right. It's endless, infinite, exempt, cyclical, right? That's what I was saying. It's like the endless, I mean, the imagery says it alone, but so laying in the center of this card is a fetus, the intermediary between the ending and the beginning of the major arcana, representing the cyclical nature of eternity. Around it coils the snake, known in Sanskrit texts as Anant Shesha, usually depicted with 5, 7, or 1,000 heads. Shesha, a term used to identify the remainder in mathematics, is that which exists when all else ceases. In Hinduism, Shesha was given the task of supporting the world atop himself, which he does until this day. When the end of the universe draws near, Anant will manifest 11 Rudras, or storm gods, to bring about the end of the universe so that a new one may take its place. Wow, okay, so I was talking about how the 1111 portal would come up, and here they mention Anant, which again is a bonus card in this deck, and like, you know, I had to choose that deck or be guided to pick that deck for this final this inspired final reading anyway is suggesting that there's going to be a major ending on 11/11, right? And while everything is cyclical, this is a big rebirth energy. And I do feel that this correlation of the action around diligence and dutiful, my guides are saying, like, be diligent and dutiful about your healing and about your self-care, which can mean taking a break and meditating, right? But and knowing when you're being too analytical, too dutiful, right? But in terms of the action here, we're talking about being very diligent of self-care and being prepared for big change. So they're saying, like, make sure you know what you don't want. And that way you can know what you do want, right? And then for the outcome, right, the outcome of this week, we see the first house with what people see and the impression we give with Capricorn. The energy around you is serious, materialistic, and hardworking. It bestows shrewdness and cautious ambition. And then the Death card and the Lovers card. Okay, so because the Lovers card came out twice in this reading, and like I said, it's been coming out a lot, I wanted to read the guidebook on the Lovers card because just so you know, if you like to read for yourself or others, if a card keeps repeating, it can mean many things, but one of them is that you're not hearing the message clearly. So I'm going to go ahead and see what the True Black Tarot has to say about the Lovers. Connection, choices, attraction, balance. Originating from Eastern cultures, the red string of fate has been described as either binding two persons' pinky fingers or ankles, and here as binding their wrists. In some embodiments, the story follows a young child that throws a rock at another child, only many years later marrying someone with a mysterious scar. In any form of the story, considerable time elapses between their first and final meetings. Very twin flame, right? With any number of events or years separating them, symbolized by the extensive and knotted red ribbons in the card's background, and this time, the red string never breaks as the two carry on with their independent lives, only to arrive together in a distant future. The two figures also hold a prism in their hands, one upright and the other facing down. They represent the opposing but attractive forces of each person and can also symbolize a choice between two different paths. Should they choose each other now or another path that calls to them, hoping and trusting that they will inevitably meet again in the future? Question mark. Holy moly, you guys. I mean, if I have ever read a twin flame story, like, that is definitely one of them. And in terms of the outcome, right, we're looking at, let's bring it all together, right? We're looking at the impression that we give being altered to other people, right? How other people see us is going to change. And there's this energy around us of being like a little too hardworking, perhaps. I do feel like there's kind of like a rough edge to the impression that we're giving. Whether or not we are that way, there does seem to be this cold edge, which is interesting because the situation is calling for this Cancer energy and this gentleness and sweetness. And so we're seeing a repeat of death, right? Because the Anant card is about death and rebirth. And here we're just seeing this idea of death. So, and I love that death card has this key. So we are definitely looking at planting a seed and unlocking the code. Yeah, I mean, I just finished recording my Patreon, and there is definitely some more information that I received about the twin flame journey and karma, but I do feel like this is suggesting that in this death, that we will be experiencing this week if we're right on time, and last week or the week before if we're running early, and then the week after for the 11/11 portal is when I think it is most likely going to happen for the larger percentage of the collective. But we're definitely looking at union